Now, segmentation is a broadly misused word across the industry where companies spend millions and millions of pounds. Now, but all of us do agree. Now, I do recognize that possibly lots of you are confused customers, but no one's taking personal. But I guess we have some devils who cost us a lot of money, and we have some angels who make a lot of money. So our wonderful customers are not all equal. But again, one size definitely does not fit all. I happened to meet Dave Reibstein. Dave's supposed to be the father of marketing in the modern era. And he said, so many managers base decisions just on what competition's been doing. And you totally kind of forget to focus on what the customer is kind of responsive to. So from Confused perspective, the challenge is we are leaders in car insurance, and we've been leaders for a long time. But the thing is, we definitely want to grow in the car insurance sector. We would like to kind of really expand into areas like home insurance, which we've been doing for a long time, credit cards, and then start acquiring the right kind of customers who are more profitable for us at a more affordable cost. And again, gone are the days. I've been through marketing meetings where I said, oh my God, we've lost a lot of customers to our competitors. Let's send them an email. Let's send them a direct mail. No, it does not work like that. Now, the challenge is, how do you reactivate your customers? Customers who used to use Confused and started using the Meerkats or the Go Compares or the Money Supermarket or the Direct Lines, they should definitely have a reason. Why did they lose that affinity towards Confused? Sending an email alone is not enough. So the challenge is, how do you start integrating your quant, call, and analytics? And most companies, the challenge is, you look at all of them in isolation. You've got a wonderful research team who do all their research. You have a wonderful insight team who look at the actual transactions. And there are lots of companies who overrule transactional behavior to a lot of wonderful research that you do with customers, because what customers perceive to do and what actually customers do are fundamentally different. So we started using a very simple model. It was called the RFV segmentation: recency, frequency, and value. You could be a maximizer, you could be a satisfier, you could be a reliable or a stable customer. All we're looking at is, how often did you come? How many times did you actually buy? And what value did you actually add to the business? The first time, because I was brought in as a segmentation expert into Confused, and I actually presented this along with one of my colleagues who did it. They thought, oh my God, we've definitely made the wrong choice hiring him. But there's nothing more powerful than a simple RFV segmentation. Then you kind of, what we started doing is we had that as your base, and we started kind of overlaying attitude. We started overlaying behavior. We started overlaying life stage. Lots of people saying life stage is probably relevant now if you're selling nappies. No, life stage is still kind of fundamentally different. If all of us know, you have kids, kids leave home, and you don't have kids. The disposable income and time you have is substantially different. So what we got SAS to do was started automizing monthly scorecards. So everyone in the business, we just have 150 people. We have weekly and monthly scorecards by segments of what each segment's doing, how the conversions kind of changed. And again, in terms of what Sonia and I and Neris would do, in terms of what can we actually do to kind of influence the change in trend. Now, again, as I said, there are lots and lots of ways you can actually segment your customers. It could be through attitude, needs-based, behavioral, demographic, value. And again, it could be across the x-axis as well. But always start simple. But the problem is, most companies do not. You spend £150,000 on research, then you do exceptionally good knowledge workshops, you create your segment Bibles and your portraits, and finally you decide to say, I'm going to roll it across the business. The market's changed. All right, let's kind of do another one again. But our challenge was, so we clearly actually have a different strategy for what our tactical plan is and what our strategic plan is. And it's been incredible working with SAS in terms of how we've actually managed to get quite a lot of it automized, so we can actually start working on more relevant stuff. For all the analysts here, can I actually have a show of hands again, John, if I may? How many people spend here more than 50% of your time preparing data to do your analysis? And how many of you can actually say, I spend more than 50% of my time doing analysis? That's it, because our challenge is we spend so much of time getting the data ready sometimes you get less than 5% of the time. You'd be like working to a deadline, getting your PowerPoint on. But I guess, SAS as a tool has been incredibly powerful. I'm trying to kind of talk about the super newsletter, which is, it's not the super newsletter, we just call it the super newsletter. Now, we did have an email team. I'm sure all of you would have received emails from Confused in the past. But the thing is, insurance is not the most interesting topic to talk over dinner. I'm sure all of you agree with that. And it is a low engagement sector. We have too much of data, so again, we really don't know. How can we use that data? And limited focus on the content as well. So again, when you talk about email, you need to start getting the right kind of content. When I did a segmentation session with one of the departments, they asked me a very valid question, to be honest, which I didn't have an answer. I talked about different forms of segmentation. They said, why don't you just do an engaged and less engaged customer? So let's pick up your entire Confused base, pick up your 20,000 lesser engaged customers. So let's say engagement is a proxy of opening emails. Let's give all of them £1,000. So let's pick up 20,000 of our customers. Let's just give all of them £1,000. But in reality, 90% of those 20,000 people would not open the email. The 5% of the people who open the email think this is a joke. And then the other 5% think, probably I think about it. The challenge is, so again, how do we even kind of really distinguish who is our more engaged customers, who is our lesser engaged customers? How do we even stop emailing our lesser engaged customers? It could be because they hate Confused. It could be because they have an alternate channel. It's not email, it's another channel. Or it could be the way that we're talking to them. So then what we did was, we had a new focus about 12 months back, real focus on retention, saying, how do we kind of keep our existing customers happy rather than trying to kind of think what the meerkat's doing or what the competition's kind of doing? How do we got a bunch of email experts in-house, so we stopped outsourcing. We said, let's get the team in-house. We got an insight function. We got a new editorial team. So the point is, if you're talking about various versions of an email, you need to have relevant content. So we got an editorial team, and then we said, how do we start integrating the whole process? So as I said, the challenge was, we were saying for every single email campaign, you're going to have more than 1,000 different variations, which can go up to 1 million. And the whole objective is, for the 15 million people in Confused, the objective is each customer would receive a different email. Difference not in name. It's easy to kind of just put in the name saying it's a different email. They will receive different email based on their relevance. Relevance could be, how did they actually shop for their motor insurance? How close are they to their home insurance renewal? What is their appetite to super bikes? So there's a lot of variables we're talking about, and having the most relevant content. So the big challenge was, it's very easy to get it wrong. You can send a 16-year-old about a beer festival, which I'm sure is not going to go very well with the regulators. You could send a video about joint life insurance cover, and I'm sure they never come to Confused back again. It sounds very easy, but the big challenge was, how do you actually get and match the customers to relevant content? And even subject lines had to be different, because I'm sure all of you agree that if the subject line wasn't attractive, you wouldn't even bother opening the email, irrespective of how relevant the content was. So what we did was, we actually got SAS to build a really sophisticated, intelligent tool, which would actually, based on the performance of the previous newsletter and a combination of over 100 variables, start defining what each customer should actually get an email. And there was a 2-week planning cycle, so this goes every fortnightly. And then you would kind of sit down with your editorial team, you'd sit down with the email team, and actually, what we do now is, for every single email, we have over 1,000 different variations, which meant, what did that mean? At the end of the day, fair enough, you did it, because one of the people in the marketing team challenge saying, we hired 8 different people to kind of do that. What's the cost to it? But the cost was, I said, one size definitely does not fit long. We had over 250,000 visitors to Confused after every newsletter. We had substantially higher open rates, click rates. People even started kind of writing back in terms of what they'd like to see more and less, especially during the elections. We had more engagement in the blogs at some stage, even more than some of the reputed newspapers in this country. And at the end of the day, if you remember, I started off saying TV's been such a big influence in terms of how we can drive traffic. And now email accounts to more than 15% of the traffic that we drive to our website. Just kind of conscious of time, but I'll be quick here with predictive analytics, because I hope none of you got rotten tomatoes to kind of throw at me because it's lunchtime. But the challenge is, again, the way we make money, again, as I said, someone kind of visits confused.com, you get all the prices, and then you go into a customer to actually buy the policy. Now, we actually have to wait for a month for the customers to kind of come back with the sales data. And it's never great, because the last thing you want to do is send a customer an email again saying, Confused is a wonderful place, you should come back and look at our insurance, when a customer's already kind of bought through Confused. So we did kind of build a really sophisticated, I would like to claim, a sales forecasting model which would predict the likelihood of someone buying up to an accuracy of 98%. So we would have no vision of the fact that the customer actually went on to the partner website, because you come through Confused and then you actually go into the partner's website, the insurer's website. But we built a model which would actually predict to 98%. Now, we had campaign selections. The easiest way is to kind of really cut down on volumes. What is someone's likelihood or propensity to respond or purchase? And we did have our own share of active cross-sell models as well. And I said, brands that have succeeded have anticipated what customers do in the future. They always say some marketeers do a better job than others, but not by accident, because we focus on our customers and our competition. Thank you.